I'm now taking you to Singapore, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi presently is. There was a grand welcome, a guard of honor, Indian diaspora's event, but eventually it is about diplomatic bilateral talks. This is a visit to the semiconductor facility in Singapore. This is the big focus, basically, of India-Singapore alliance. Prime Minister visiting this facility of the AEM Holdings Limited. Prime Minister of Singapore, who's also the Finance Minister, Lawrence Wong, is alongside. But look at that. What a colourful event that was organised. The citizens of Singapore, women artists with Indian diaspora performing the Indian art forms. There were memorandum of understanding signed, as you see, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar with the counterpart from Singapore. Indian diaspora's grand welcome, guard of honour. A dhol moment for Prime Minister Modi trying his hand at some dhol that he played on the first day. It's a two-day visit. But what you're looking at right now is the big visual, because remember, it is the semiconductor manufacturing industry that India and Singapore together are aiming at. I have Foreign Affairs Editor Geeta Mohan to be joining me right now. Geeta, so the Semiconductor Pact is basically the highlight of this visit, isn't it? Can you tell us more about what are we expecting? What does this vision here on lead to?
Well, it is a massive and a major development when it comes to India and Singapore. Just not so very long ago, Pooja, an MOU was signed between India and Singapore on an India-Singapore semiconductor ecosystem partnership. Now, what will that partnership entail? It will entail the semiconductor clusters that are developed, cultivation of talent in semiconductor design and manufacturing. It will also seek Singaporean companies to really come and partner with India and invest in India. So this is a very important supply chain loophole that the world was faced with during COVID, and a realization that there are alternatives that are required, alternatives to China. And this certainly is a part of that entire conversation and commitment to seek alternative supply chains. Dialogue mechanisms will be set up under the MOU that is signed, which will facilitate investments into India. So it is not just about cooperation between India and Singapore, between companies, but also India seeking to become a manufacturing hub of semiconductors. And on that, in that vein, we have seen India engage Taiwan, engage Malaysia. The Malaysian Prime Minister was here, massive conversation on semiconductors, and now engaging in Singapore, but also a very important part of the indo-pacific architecture, where the Quad, which is not a military bloc, primarily an economic bloc, semiconductor facilities and industries is a major part of that conversation, and hence cementing the indo-pacific architecture through India-Singapore semiconductor cooperation.
Well, here's definitely hoping that we are looking at the two big powerhouses from Asia, India and Singapore, together united, can become a global powerhouse as well. Semiconductor, manufacturing, digital technology, skill, health, all of this will be on agenda. And clearly there's nothing stopping these two countries to march ahead.